So, hi, my name's Aidan Green. I go to the Telluride Mountain School along with Gorio Osha. So, for a month of my summer, I was fortunate enough to spend my time in Miami, Florida, working in an architectural firm, but specializing in sea level rise and working with the Sea Level Rise Task Force. And what I worked on was how sea level rise and environmental architecture can help improve resiliency in cities against sea level rise. For my internship, I worked in Miami, Florida, and I lived with what qualified as the city of Coral Gables. Give me like 3 seconds to figure out the laser. There we go. So I worked in downtown Miami in what was called Brickell. And then I lived like what would be over here. Here's like East Coral Gables. It's qualified as like the city of Coral Gables, but I see it all as Miami. So I worked in Miami, and every morning I would take a trolley that like a kind of like a streetcar that you'd see, and I'd take a trolley from my house all the way down to downtown Miami for my work. And it would drop me off, and I worked in this building. I worked in the 7th floor in an office called Borges Architects and Associates. And there is where I was taken under the wing of Ronaldo Borges. And that's where my journey started down the road of sea level rise and architecture. And Ronaldo showed me big things about architecture, and he taught me a lot about sea level rise, but more importantly, he showed me how the two were connected and how they were related. So now that you know a bit about my job, I guess let's talk like a bit about what I did. So in Miami, I did a lot of reading to start off my internship. You can't really like use anything because you haven't really learned about it. So for the first week and a half, I just sat at my desk reading article after article, which was pretty cool, I guess. I learned a lot through it. So within reading many articles, it was a lot of work. You hate it in the moment, but you appreciate it afterwards. And it really helped me with my internship and learning experience. And so once I learned, I was able to start using my information. And I was, here's like what I learned. So some things are, well, one big main problem, or the big reason with sea level rise is that the sea is rising. So in this image, it shows us a predicted amount of around 6 feet within the next 100 years of water. And this impacts coastal regions, so Miami, Charleston, Tampa, pretty much all the areas on coastal regions and near the sea with not a lot of land between them and the water. So I learned about that and how much water there was going to be and where, and how to protect and live with sea level rise. In this image, you can see that Miami is getting destroyed by sea level rise. The light blue water is the 100-year prediction of floods and sea level. So you can see that it says like 5.7 feet right in downtown Miami on Miami Beach. And then this image here shows us the 2010 like numbers for the sea level and the storm surges. And then as years go on, you can see how the sea level is going to rise, and then storm surges will be a lot greater and reaching farther and farther into cities and populated areas. So after I learned, things got like a lot better. Instead of just reading, I was able to kind of become an architect. I spent my days kind of seeing the life and lifestyle of an architect. So I was able to go on many cool lunch meetings and participate in a lot of meetings because I learned. I was able to start kind of seeing what architects do. I was fortunate enough to sit in on lunch meetings, and this meeting here, this guy came in and he works for a lighting company, and he was trying to kind of show us what his lighting could do and see how that would make our architecture any better. Another meeting I was able to sit in on, or I guess this I went to on my own time, it was a youth architectural presentation with the American Institute of Architects of Miami. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then a huge project or a huge meeting I was able to go to is through the Sea Level Rise Task Force. And my boss, Ronaldo Borges, was the funder of the Sea Level Rise Task Force in Miami. So I was able to go to this one with special guests Walter Meyer and his wife Jennifer Bolstad, who are both environmental and streetscape architects in New York. And they actually they're the ones, creating this project, which is called the Big U, which is essentially creating a barrier between the seawater and civilization in downtown Manhattan. Other meetings I was able to go on were meeting with the director of the city of Coral Gables and the director of the city of Wynwood, and see how new projects were trying to be implemented into the cities. Now that you know a little bit about what I did, I'd like to talk about where I stayed, because that's a huge part of your time. You work a lot, but then you come home and sleep in one place. So this is where I stayed. I stayed in a big old house in Coral Gables. I lived with the great Hans family, which included my host mother Patty, my host brother, my host father Robert, my host brothers Kevin and Mikey, my host sister Ashley, and then their boyfriends and girlfriends Claudia, Nicole, and Stefan. And I wanted to say that because they were a huge part of my internship. Other things I got to do, well, it is a lot of work, but you do get to play at points. I ate a lot of great food. That was a huge part. I love eating, so I ate a lot of good food. And then I was fortunate enough, it's a bad photo, I'm sorry, but I went deep sea fishing for the first time ever. And Nicole caught her first fish, her first fish ever, which was a 40-pound tarpon. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was a different way of fishing, and instead of your river fly fishing. Advice I'd have for future interns is it's a learning experience. That's what I thought of it as, and I came out learning a lot more than I thought I was going to. So in a way, have low expectations so you're ready for whatever's coming, because it's going to be a lot greater than you think. And I mean that in a total positive way. Be open-minded also. If something's not going your way, take it with your best stride and enjoy your internship, and then most of all, have fun, because that's important. Have fun. And then I'd like to say a big thanks to the Pinhead Executive Director, Sarah Holbrook, the Principal and CEO of Borges Architecture, which is Ronaldo Borges, my boss, Max Strang, the CEO of Strang Architecture and a Pinhead board member who helped me get my internship, and Andy Schaff, Associate Head of School at TMS and board member. So also a huge thanks to my host family, the Hans family, and yeah, we finished.
That was so good.